Hello there, beautiful beings, and welcome to my sacred space. My name is Raven, and thank you so much for being here. Today, we are gonna go through my three Moonology decks by Yasmin Boland. But before we go on to this comparison video, I would love for you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we'll start. Alright, so in this video, I will go through the similarities and differences between the three decks, and I will do a flip through, but definitely not gonna arrange them because they do have their own themes and whatnot, so it doesn't make sense to arrange them like a tarot. But yeah, we'll just go through it. So this is the first deck by Yasmin Boland. This is the first one that she came out with. This is just the Moonology Oracle cards. The artwork for this one is by Nyx Rowan. I love how she kept her, it's kind of like her trademark now, like the logo, the font and all of that. I think it's really nice. It's beautiful. I like it. What I like about the packaging as well, these are Hay House decks, but what I like about it, it's very easy to spot. Do you know what I mean? Like once I see this logo, the style of the packaging, I would already know that it is Yasmin Boland's deck. It's not like Hay House have like different packaging depending on the artist. I'm just saying that the style is somewhat similar, and if you put it on your bookshelf or wherever you keep your decks, it has the same vibe. So for me, it's really handy if you would just want to pull all three of them together, just like what I did now. So packaging is your typical Hay House box, two-piece box. In the front or in the inner side, it says, "Let the moon be your guide." This one. And here, it's just the moon. It came in with this guidebook, and it has, I don't know, like I have, like you can see that it's been creased and whatnot because I have gone through this guidebook quite a lot when I first received this deck, and I just really wanted to get into it and learn more. I'm not really that adept when it comes to astrology, like the moons and all of that. So this guidebook really came in handy for me to familiarize myself with the contents of her deck. So this deck actually has different phases. So you have the moon phase, the new moon cards, full moon cards, special moon cards. So all of that. And it's nice that she has like a table of contents, so that it's easy for us to find something in case we need further information regarding a card that we pulled. So here you have like an introduction. Here she wrote what these cards are for. So creating your life, planning your life, and predicting your life. She also inserted a part for blessing the cards. So if you don't have your own way to consecrate or to transfer your energy onto your cards, this is a good ritual to try. So the wisdom of the moon, so a little bit of information about her, Yasmin Boland's relationship with the moon. If you draw a card during a reading and it gives you a particular feeling, honor that. It's really cool. And then she goes on to the phases of the moon. So these are the moon phases, and she also provided like the meanings or like the keywords that can align with that specific kind of moon. And then working with the cards. So this deck has 44 powerful and magical cards to use whenever you want a deep answer to a probing question, or you just want a quick guidance. So quick guidance would be your daily pulls, right? Or if you're doing journaling or whatnot, you can also pull from this deck. So like I said earlier, this deck has different divisions like the moon phase cards, new moon cards, full moon cards, and special moon cards. She also provided like an instruction on how you can interpret the cards and all of that. So additional meanings attuned to the moon, the teachings, the elements. So this guidebook really goes into the details of how you can start working with your deck. Like you need to learn about your deck, and then eventually, you can move forward once you familiarize yourself with the theme of the deck and whatnot. Then you can move forward with actually using them and getting acquainted with the meanings. So she also provided spreads here, right? Just several, and then on to the meanings. So each card would have like a black and white representation of the card, the phrase or the key phrase that's on the actual card, the type of the moon, and then your meaning. There's a way for you to attune to the moon. There are additional meanings for this card if you seem like, or if you feel like the description that she provided or the explanation she provided doesn't align with your situation. You can also find more inspiration from this part. And then she also provides the teaching. So I think this is a very well thought of guidebook. I really, it's used, So I like referring to this. If I do need deeper guidance, I would really have to look at the guidebook. Sometimes, like the key phrases that the deck has or the card has is enough. But for other times, wherein, I feel like I need to go a little bit deeper, then I would refer to the guidebook. So I like her guidebook. It's really cool. Before we get into the cards, I want to open the Moonology Manifestation Oracle. So this is the second deck that she came out with. This one has 48 cards. This deck actually focuses more on how to help you manifest your dreams or manifest the things that you want in your life. So in the inner part of the box, it says attune to the moon and manifest miracles. Okay. I prefer the color scheme of this actually. But yeah, that's how it looks like. I love the color. And then let's talk about the guidebook. Guidebook is also chunky. I didn't use it as much as I did this one. Because I feel like, okay, these are manifestation. You hold the rein to your life, right? You can manifest whatever it is that you want in your life. You can invite it, attract it, and all of that. And basically, this deck is just going to help you attract it even further, like magnetize it towards you. All right, so you have here your table of contents, and this deck also has the same divisions as the first deck. So you have new moon cards, first quarter moon cards, full moon cards, and last quarter moon cards. Okay, so introduction. You have in your hands a guidebook to a magical tool that can help you create your own reality and change your life in amazing ways. These cards will show you the power you already have to manifest your dreams. Precisely like what I said, right? You don't need this deck to manifest the things that you want in your life because you have the power to do that. It all comes down to you, right? But you might need this deck to just amplify that power. I hope I'm making sense. So the Moonology Manifestation Oracle will give you support and guidance as you continue to manifest. So each card interpretation in this guidebook will help you understand what you're currently bringing into your life, explain the best mindset to get into when you draw a particular card and how to harness its energy, reveal what the card means in astrological sense for anyone who wants to deepen their astrological and moonological understanding. Okay. So the magical lunar cycle, she talks about that here. So the moon represents the goddess. Even now, as man plans to land on the moon again and even create a base on her, the moon is sacred. So like a touch on how she views the moon. And then you have here, she talks about the cycles here, and they're broken down here as well. Working with the cards, so similar with the first deck's guidebook, this one is very packed with information. It will really guide you. You will not get lost using this deck because the guidebook really has all the information or tools that you need to start using this deck and understanding this deck. So you have working with the cards. So it talks about new moon cards. These cards herald opportunities. They represent doors that are opening up. Okay, first quarter moon cards. These cards reveal how you're being challenged. Looking at the zodiac sign on each card helps us to understand the dynamics and find solutions. And then here she provided the different chakras. Full moon cards. These cards are all about climaxes. The energies are peaking when one of these cards come up. Okay, last quarter moon cards. These cards signify a conclusion of one kind or another. The energy of these cards is clearing. So it's kind of like your conclusion. So she wrote a paragraph here about elements, like the 12 zodiacs. You have the elements of fire, earth, air, water. You have planetary days and hours. Planetary days, here you have your Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Planetary hours and how to bless your cards. So really purchasing a Yasmin Boland deck, I feel like, is a really learning experience because it opens you up to knowledge you already perhaps know, and would just add on to that knowledge. Or if you're somewhat like me, like completely lost when it comes to all of these astrological things, then it really helps me enrich myself in that sense. Right, so as I was saying, she also provided like a way for you to consecrate your cards or to bless your cards, to transfer your energy into your deck, and just really create a bond so that it's easier for you to use it, understand it, and really decode the meaning that it's trying to send you. And then you have different spreads here, and then onto the meanings. So when you look at it, it's kind of like really straightforward, but she's able to provide you with the information that you will need to really understand this deck. So the energies of these cards represented, or yeah, precisely what we read earlier. So this deck doesn't have like a black and white representation of the card anymore, but you have the kind of moon, the keyword, the message, the manifesting focus, the manifesting mindset, the manifesting tips for boosting courage, your affirmation, and when it is best to do your manifestation. So that's really cool, right? So I feel like, Yasmin Boland really knows her stuff about the moon, and I love that she is sharing that knowledge to all of us. So that is her guidebook for this one. I am going to put it back inside, and we're going to pull out the third and final deck that I have of her, or from her. This is the Moonology Messages Oracle. As you can clearly see, the theme or the vibe is quite different. This one has a different color scheme altogether, whereas these two kind of like are similar, right? Oh, I forgot to mention the name of the artist for this one. The artworks are created by Lori Mena. I love, love the faces of this deck. So let's get back into this one. This is the latest one that I got from Yasmin Boland. And yeah, you can see already the difference. So call on Goddess Saraswati to guide your intuition. All right. Gonna put that there. Deck here. And let's go into the guidebook. To be honest with you, I haven't used this deck a lot. I've gone through the images, maybe did like a couple of daily pulls, but to really absorb it, not really, not so much. I haven't really used it in a lot of readings as well, so we are going to go through this guidebook together. So this deck says it's all about intuition. All right. So she does have a table of contents here, but unlike the first two decks, like there's no segmentation anymore, so it's just automatically the interpretation of the cards, and you have the different moons there, right? So are you ready to receive messages from the moon? If you're reading this, you probably are. Okay, so that's her introduction. It's all about intuition. In my two previous decks, the Moonology Oracle cards and the Moonology Manifestation Oracle, I adhered very strictly to the moon as we know it in astrological terms. This deck is a departure from that model. While the Moonology Oracle cards will give you clear answers to questions based on the moon phase or sign of the cards that you draw, and the Moonology Manifestation Oracle will help you with your manifesting, I feel this deck cuts straight to your intuition. Oh, okay. Okay. I like this part. This wasn't something I planned. It just worked out like that. The moon made me do it. Alright, so I have the spirit of the deck. Basically just talks about everything on earth has a spirit. So, oh, okay. So essentially what she's saying is that the spirit of this deck is actually your intuition. So that's why you need to really tap into your intuition. I don't know why I sang like that. It's a really bad tune. So how these cards can help you So, continuing with the theme of Goddess Saraswati and her gifts of divine feminine wisdom and intuition, I hope these cards will help you to understand whatever it is your higher self or your intuition is trying to tell you. So, it's basically like a communication channel for your intuition to talk to you through these cards, because sometimes, we see signs. Definitely, we see signs. We see these messages, and we know, like the angel numbers and all of that. Like, we know this must mean something. But this deck is actually going to be your vehicle for that communication, because the messages that your intuition or the spirit is trying to tell you is already within these cards. So, yes. Okay, so how to use this deck, basically your instructions on how to bless your deck or to transfer your energy onto it, to consecrate the cards, instructions on how to start reading. What if you don't like the card you get? Well, there's such a thing called tarot integrity or integrity, so take it. It's meant for you. Reading for people. Okay. Should you let others touch these cards? This is quite controversial because a lot of people are saying that, hey, you're not supposed to allow other people to touch your tarot decks or to touch your oracle decks because their energy will, mix up with yours and whatever. I'm same with her. Not really a fan of that idea. I mean, I feel like it's okay to allow other people to see your decks, right? To touch them. It shouldn't matter. At the end of the day, you will have to cleanse anyway before you do a reading, right? So, by the way, I do apologize if I'm like talking very weirdly. I have a huge cut on my tongue, and TMI, I'm so sorry. It just hurts when I talk. So, please bear with me. And then clearing your cards, okay? And then interpretation of the card. So automatically onto the interpretation. Again, similar with the second deck, it doesn't have a visual representation of the card anymore on the actual guidebook. You can actually see them here, but you have the type of the moon, the keyword, and the message. So you have a lot of information here. So this card brings you courage. You're halfway through your current battle, and you have more left in reserves than you think. Be courageous. And then further meanings for this card. So when you pull, like, for example, if you pull the courage card, then it means, maybe you need to do some shadow work, or a change is coming, some advice here, some action phrases, very, very useful additional meanings for a specific card, things that you can actually work on, things that you can actually do, you can write them on your journal, and stuff like that. And then you have about this symbol, which talks about, like, a blood moon happens at the time of a blood moon. So hard to talk about this symbol. A blood moon happens at the time of a total lunar eclipse. The moon appears to turn deep red because she's being lit up by light that's passed through the Earth's atmosphere. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. My mouth hurts, like my tongue hurts. Okay, so that is how it looks like. So healing moon, seek healing, moonbeams, focus. I love how they're very relatable. Like the keywords that she used for the actual moon, quality moon, part moon, whatever, aligns, like focus, moonbeams, right? So yes, that is how it looks like, and we're gonna have a look at the cards. But before we take a look at the front of the cards, I want to talk about the backing and the card quality and all of that good stuff that not a lot of people like to watch. But yeah, I do talk about those things. Just 1 second. I noticed that this one doesn't have an artist. Did she create the art for this one? No, no, no. There it is. So the artwork for this deck is by Ali Vermilio. Okay. Backing wise, I don't know. This deck, it's such a classic for me. I love the backing for this one. It's so simple, so minimalist. I love the dark indigo colors. I'm not so sure if it's coming off as indigo in your screen, but it is like a deep shade of like midnight blue and whatnot, and it's just absolutely beautiful. Very simple, but it's a classic. The middle one is beautiful. Like out of the three, this is the most beautiful. It's the prettiest. I love the little details here of the crystals, the amethyst, and you have the moon here in the middle. showing the faces. And here it's more of like an art deco deck. All right, even the colors are different. So I feel like maybe that is Yasmin Boland's way to kind of like differentiate this deck from the others, because she did mention that in the guidebook, right? So, edging. This one actually doesn't come edged. I edged it myself just because I feel like it looks pretty. Do you agree? This one, I didn't do any modification for this deck. Everything is smooth and cut very nicely. No rough edges or anything. Same with the last one. As for the cardstock, yeah, you know what? The cardstock is pretty much the same all throughout. No issues whatsoever with the cardstock. It's still very, very sturdy. I feel like it will last a long time. This deck is completely beaten, but it's still, standing. So, okay. So we're now looking at the faces of the decks, right? And I'm not so sure if it's because this is like the first one, but maybe that's the reason why it's just like the most simple or the most minimalist out of the three. But I don't know, probably favoritism or whatnot. But based on my experience from using this deck for like several years and my relationship with this deck, I would totally choose this one over these two. So, but I do love the art style of this one. So, yeah, okay, I'm rambling. So, as the theme of the deck itself suggests, it is all about the moon. So you have the moon present in all three faces, right? And it's similar all throughout. There's no card here without a moon, because then that defeats the purpose of it being a monology deck. So in the first deck, you can see there's no additional number. Same with the other two. This one has it looks textured actually, but this is like kind of looks like the fur on my table, but with lessened opacity. What I love about this deck is it starts off with action phrases. Automatically, once you look at it, okay, you know what to do. You know the advice, right? Be bold and make the first move. And I think it's really amazing that Yasmin Boland, although this deck, she said, is like a complete departure from these two, it still bears that action phrase here. Love that. So you have a white bar at the bottom, you have the action phrase, and you have the type of the moon. Also shows you like different representations of the moon. In some, if like it's a new moon in Aries, you have a representation or the constellation uh, representing the zodiac, right? In the middle part, this is your manifestation deck. So these decks are all matte, by the way. So I really do love the art style of this one. It somewhat reminds me of, is it Rebecca Campbell? Oh, no, Daniel Noel's art style. I love the jewel tones. I love that some of the images here or the cards here have geometric patterns on them. I love the abundance of like beautiful, twinkling stars. It's just very, very pretty for me. I love it. I love it. But yeah, let's talk about the important stuff. Well, those are important too, right? Especially if you focus on the sceneries as well whenever you're tapping into your intuition. But here you have the kind of the moon at the top and then the message. Oh, I'm so sorry. Magnus is having a dream while he's sleeping. So here is like your action phrase, right? So first quarter moon in Scorpio, release your blocks. Okay. So last quarter moon in Sagittarius, practice gratitude. So this is not wrong spelling, by the way. That is how the British and the Australians type or spell practice, right? They use an S, not a C. I just want to mention that. All right, now moving on to the last deck. This is the Moonology Messages Oracle. As mentioned earlier, out of the three, this one has like the most different art style. I don't know what it is. I'm not really that keen on it. Like out of the three, this is my least favorite. I'm gonna say it outright in terms of like the art style, right? But this one is really used for like like channeling your intuition, your higher self, right? Channeling the spirit. And it gives you direct answers also. So basically, like a deck that just provides you with the most straightforward answers that you can get. But if you need to go a little bit deeper, you can always consult the guidebook because Yasmin Boland writes very well. She's very thorough, and she's able to provide us with further information should we need it. We just need to refer to the guidebook. Now, I'm not so sure if I can still zoom in. Let me try. We'll flip through just so that you can have a look at the different faces of these three decks all at the same time. I'll start. is it. That is the comparison flip through of the three Yasmin Boland Moonology decks. I would love to hear your thoughts about the art style, about the card, what do you call it, the motif or the theme for each of the decks, like even the palette, like which one is your favorite? Um, Another thing that I forgot to mention earlier is that this one has actually this deck also has astrological symbols embedded into the artwork. This one completely doesn't. So the main difference that I can, right off the bat can see between the three decks is that these two are a little bit more technical, a little bit more into the astrology of things, right? Whereas this one is just anything and everything about the moon. Moon goddess, moon's moment, moonlit, yang moon, moonrise, domicile moon, anything about the moon, moon shining. Whereas this, they have like new moon in Sagittarius, cardinal moon, fixed moon, first quarter moon, and Libra. So I feel like it is true. It is complete. This deck is actually very different from the first two. But other than the technical side of things, right? I feel like even the art style is, you know, really different from these two. I am gonna, come at you straight. I prefer the artworks of these decks better than this one. I just feel like this is a little bit, I don't know, all over the place. Like sometimes it looks like it's Art Deco, other times it seems minimalist, other times it's like a bit cosmic. The others are just like, what, Stargates and stuff. So I'm not, this is a beautiful card though. This one also. So this one, I'm not so keen on the psychedelic background. So I feel like this is beautiful. Like I don't feel the same way about the cards of this deck all throughout. Like there are some cards that I love, some not so much, right? But at the end of the day, it's all about the messages that's coming through for you when you read the captions, or when you read the action phrases. The images, I feel like, are just an added nudge or an added push for you to really get acquainted with what the card is actually trying to tell you. This is beautiful. But yeah, out of the three, least favorite art style, this one is really a joy to look at. I don't know, it just has this energy of it being so peaceful, so grounding, just very, very content. I love the lush background. I love the sea. This is more landscape vibes, like more about the beautiful scenes in nature, right? It makes you appreciate our life on Earth more. It gives that vibe. This is Angkor Wat in Cambodia. Like you can discern, or you can recognize some of, like even the crab and stuff. Like you can recognize some of the landscapes that the artist featured in this deck, and I think it's just beautiful. It feels like when I look at a specific card or a background, like it brings me there. It throws me into the actual image, and I think it's really beautiful. Like the cherry blossoms here, it has an effect. The artworks of this deck gives you a little bit more extra, as opposed to this one. Energy that comes through, I feel like the art style has an effect on me of sorts. But yes, this is an absolutely gorgeous deck. I love the colors, I love the purples, the jewel tones, and all of that. This one, my friends, is totally my absolute favorite. I love this deck. I love the art style of this one. But this one is just, it's really the bond that I have with this deck. The style of this deck, the images, it's very, very minimalist. It's so simple. It's like barely decorated at all. But I don't know, there's just something with it that makes me really do love it. I don't know. I think I'm biased because I've known this deck for the longest. I've used it in countless readings before, and it never failed me, not once. And I feel like it really provides me with the clearest answer for any clarifications that I might need for any reading I'm doing for myself or for other people. This deck really delivers. Like this deck, or perhaps, like as I keep on saying, it's probably my bond with this deck. But Yeah, it's always spot on, always so accurate. It has that cosmic vibe, but at the same time, it's very grounding, which is very, opposing thoughts, but it does give me that energy. And even though it's very simple, I feel like there's some sort of elegance in the simplicity, in the rawness of this deck. And yeah, that is it. That is it for me today. I showed you my three Moonology decks from Yasmin Boland, and I would love to hear your thoughts. Which deck is your favorite? Which do you have? Which do you plan to buy? Which one is going on your what do you call that? Your long list of other decks that you want to explore. And yes, if you enjoy this type of content, if this video helped you in any way to kind of like decide which one to purchase, consider giving this video a like. I would greatly appreciate that. It does help out in the continuation of this channel. And yeah, that is it. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you all have a beautiful day.